G'day, welcome to the second episode of the Footy Show. How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? We have got a big one. What a big week it has been in football. My name is Curtis. If we're meeting for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a big show for you today. On the agenda, we have got, unfortunately, we're talking a lot of United. We are talking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Is the man going to keep his job? We'll go in depth about that. Mauricio Pochettino on Monday Night Football, making an appearance. He was not bad, was he? Had a few interesting things to say, and we've got a few clips of that later coming your way. Also, talking Chelsea. Things are starting to click for Frank Lampard. We've also got Liverpool City coming up this weekend. It's going to be a massive week in the Premier League. And also, we've got a new segment on the Footy Show this week. We've got two of the week. Wanker of the week, aka. Also, we've got the player of the week in the Premier League. And we've got a player that you should be keeping an eye out for. Someone that's flying under the radar. But first things first, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the league table. Now, it's not looking pretty for Manchester United, it must be said. And that's why on top of the agenda today, we're talking all things Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But Liverpool, back on top of the league there. Looking not bad. Leicester City, back in the top four. Second, an injury-prone Leicester City, might I add. Brendan Rodgers has done very well. Tottenham third. Jose Mourinho's Tottenham, look at that, undefeated in 5 games. Sitting pretty. Everton still keeping in that top 4, despite back-to-back defeats. Southampton in that top 5. Who would have seen that coming after that 4-1 thrashing to Spurs earlier on in the season? Not me. Fulham getting out of the relegation zone, if you don't mind. What a win that was against West Brom. And as you can see, Manchester United there. Just surviving. Just getting out of the relegation zone. Tell you what, mate. A bad win. A bad week. A bad loss this weekend coming up to Everton. And I'll tell you what, Manchester United could easily find themselves in the relegation zone this weekend. Leeds United didn't put the best performance out this weekend, did they? Sitting in mid-table. Manchester City in mid-table. Arsenal. What a win that was. No one's seen that coming at Old Trafford. Fair play to Mikel Arteta. And Wolves, after a rocky start, travelling along very, very nicely, if we say so indeed. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the agenda. And first on top of the agenda, it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Is this the start of the end for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? It's not looking too good for Ole, is it? Let me just bring the microphone a bit closer and have a chat. It's not looking good for Ole, is it? I swear, I put a tweet out today. A week is a long time in football. A very long time. This show last week, the Footy Show, we were talking about the Leipzig 5-0 thrashing. And then the week before that, obviously, United beaten convincingly Paris Saint-Germain. United look fantastic. Look to be in good form. But haven't the wheels fallen off? Ollie, are you at the wheel, my friend? Because it's not looking too good. Look, this morning's game. Look, funny thing enough, I was meant to do this show last night, the Footy Show, but unfortunately had a bit of complications and I couldn't do it. But thank God I waited one more day because I tell you what, it's looking shocking. No, I was going to say shocking. It's looking shaky for Mauricio Pochettino. Jesus, I'm already thinking Pochettino as United manager. Nah, look, first things first, the loss against Arsenal on the weekend. Look, initially, I was angry. I was fuming. And it's got to be said, it was the first time that I questioned Ollie as United manager. Question as in, like, is he actually the man for the job? Because if he's not, what are we doing here? Are we wasting our times here? Should we be giving the job to someone who deserves it more, can take this club further? What are we actually doing here? But then, the loss to Arsenal wasn't good. That was the manner of the loss. The players just didn't seem to be up for it, because when the players came out the second half, there was a good initial 10-15 minutes there. Hard chasing, good pressing. Players wanted it more. But then they just drifted off. And they just tapered off. And then this morning's game, Istanbul, much of the same thing. It was much of, we went 1-0 behind, which, comedy of errors. Demba Ba, 1-on-1. Reminiscence of the Steven Gerrard slip as Demba Ba for Chelsea. Very, very similar. Dean Henderson had no hope. Unfortunately, we set Dean Henderson up to fail. But that's not really on Ollie, okay? Now, this is what I was going to say before. Initially, against the Arsenal loss, I was first time questioning Ollie. But then I've calmed down and relaxed. So I'm just thinking, well, let's just take a step back and look at the big picture, okay? It's always good to do that in life. I'll give you a tip in any situation. Look what the man's done. When he took over United, we were a shambles. The players were just hating on Mourinho. They didn't look like it didn't look like there was a good culture at the club. Ollie turned that around. He didn't just turn the culture at the club around where everyone's happy and playing good football. Got rid of the dead wood. Got rid of the players that didn't want to be here. Your Alexis Sanchez's, Lukaku's. Big money, not even playing. I remember Lukaku didn't even want to play. Gone, mate. You're at the club. And not just that. We're playing good football. Like, we're scoring lots of goals. How many times have we seen 4 or 5 goals from Ollie? A fair few. We never seen that under Van Gaal. Louis Van Gaal was probably the worst football I've seen ever as a United fan. And it wasn't that much better under Mourinho. Initially, Mourinho came and then we were 4-0 FC for a little bit. That lasted a couple months. And then that was that. The football we're playing now is so much more exciting under Ollie. It's just the inconsistencies. It's just... oh, mate. Look... When he came in that 10-run burst, that was amazing. All right? And then it was like the back of 10 losses right after that. And then he got the job on a permanent basis, okay? Changed the culture of the club. Last year, finished 3rd. That is ridiculous for this squad. No one expected that. Even me as a hardcore United fan, I predicted us to finish 4th, not 3rd. And he got 3rd, Ollie. Qualified for the Champions League. Got to 3 cup semi-finals. That's a fair effort. Not bad for a PE teacher. But then didn't get backed in the summer. And we've got to think about that. Who did Ollie really want? And it's common knowledge now that he really wanted Jackie Grealish. Didn't get Jack Grealish. Got Donny van der Beek. A player, very good player. Looked good this morning. Looked mint. I like Donny van der Beek. But unfortunately, he's not getting in the starting 11. Who else did we sign? Edison Cavani, not starting in the 11. Alexis Telles could be starting in the 11, but for now, he's not. And to say that he's going to be a permanent starter in the 11, it's up for debate. It's not a sure thing. So after going and qualifying for the Champions League and not getting backed in the summer, and here we are, 6 weeks, 7 weeks later, do we wonder why we're having these conversations? Is Ollie to fully blame? Look, yes, he is to blame for some things. But I just think he deserves a go. He doesn't deserve this kind of pressure. I think fans now are just too overreaction. Like, fans overreact to the slightest things. Look, as a United fan, a long life United fan, we were known for giving the manager time, backing the manager. What happened to that? As a club, as a culture, we were setting the standards. We used to laugh at clubs like Chelsea for sacking their managers every year. We've become that. And if we sack Ollie, we're going to become the biggest laughing stock the Premier League has seen. Look, this morning's game, you can't hold no excuses. That was absolutely piss poor. There was no urgency in the play. Our goal came from nothing. And when we went into at halftime and it was 2-1, I thought, right, we're going to come out the second half now. Hopefully we can nick a few goals and push on here. There was just a lack of urgency. There just was... This team looked spineless. Looked like it had no heart. Now, this is a crazy season, and I get it. These players had no preseason. Of course, there was the pandemic, and we do have to take that into consideration. These players have had no time off. Yeah, the players had 3 months off last year because of the pandemic. And they didn't stop. They kept training all the way through. United, when the season finished, we kept on going, playing through Europe. They had no time off. So, you have to expect you've got to be realistic and expect these inconsistencies, but not to this level. This is where Ollie does have to hold his hand up. And the game this morning was another game where not much of an excuse, mate. Istanbul hasn't even scored a goal in the Champions League. We've gifted them two. Gifted them two. They didn't earn it. We gifted them two. And after the match this morning, this is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had to say in his post-match presser.
You're on a bit of a mini run before the last 2 matches. How much do the last 2 defeats set you back?
Oh, it set us back a lot. Of course it has, because you get a reality check every time you play a football game here. Nothing becomes history quicker than a game of football, and you don't just turn up and get 3 points in the Champions League. That's shown here today. You know, we played against lots of good individuals in a good team, well set up, well organized, and we were not good enough. That's it.
All round, Ollie, how positive are you still that you can get the best out of this squad, this talented squad?
It's not easy to be positive now, of course it isn't, when you've just lost the way we did. But these players, they're good players, and we have a chance on Saturday morning to get going again.
We'll see you then. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Saturday morning now becomes massive. United now play Everton at Goodison Park. It's going to be massive. It's going to be huge. I tell you what, we have not got a good record there in recent years. I feel sorry for Ollie a little bit. I do think he should be given more time, at least to the end of the season, despite these results don't continue. He did lose their 4-0 a couple seasons ago, very badly. And I do fear for Ollie, if that result was to repeat itself this weekend, he could be sacked. Hopefully he doesn't, but this is the thing with Ollie. When you think he's done, when you think he's either man, when you question him, he comes out and pulls out the big results. I think he should be given a bit more time. Let me know in the comments below if you reckon or not. Let's get on to the next man. The man in question on Monday Night Football, Mauricio Pochettino. And yes, Mauricio Pochettino making an appearance on Monday Night Football. How do these things work? Does he put himself out there? Does his agent put him on show? Or are Sky Sports ringing him saying, mate, get on the show. We know you want a gig at United. Is it that simple? Because what a coincidence. We lost to Arsenal. And then Pochettino was on Monday Night Football the next day. Amazing. But this is the thing now. For some reason, for some unknown reason, people just think Pochettino is the man to replace Ollie if he is to get the sack. Look, just a word on Pochettino. In fact, before we have a word on Pochettino, let's listen to what he had to say on Monday Night Football.
But do you feel ready to go again?
I always was ready to be again involved on the game. I love football. It's my passion. It's not my job. It's not stress when you are working. It's not a stress to go into the training ground. It's not a stress to prepare the game. It's not a stress to compete. Look, my longer and getting longer. Hope to cut as soon as we start again to work. But yes, I am looking forward again to be involved in the game. I love the game. It's difficult. We are inside. We are working. We are doing things. But it's not the same to be involved every single day and to share with your player, with the staff, with the clubs, and of course, always you miss that. I think that is the reality.
It is not my job. It is my passion. You've got to love those words there from Mauricio Pochettino. Honestly, he's not getting a haircut until he gets a job, he reckons. But seriously, all right. I'm going to make a video next week. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer versus Pochettino. Regardless if he gets sacked or not this weekend. I think it's going to be an interesting video to make. But doing already a bit of research for that video, I come across... Look, Tottenham in the last 22 years, okay, have made the top four twice, okay? Mauricio Pochettino, in his 5 years at Tottenham, in his tenure, qualified for the Champions League four times, I should say. It's pretty impressive for Pochettino. He's known for rebuilding squads from the ground up. We've seen what he did at Southampton, and he's repeated himself at Spurs. It is impressive. He's got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final. Very, very impressive. But is he actually the man to be at the helm at Old Trafford, at the Theatre of Dreams? Can he handle the pressure? That's what I argue. Because whatever side you're in, if you want Ollie out and you want Poch in, look, it's just as good as an argument that he's not good enough. Okay, people can argue that yes, Spurs did make a Champions League final, but at any point in that Champions League run, did they ever look like they were going to win it? Like they got there by the skin of their teeth in the semi-final. Just thanks to some brilliance to Lucas Moura. But that's credit to Pochettino. But then they conceded in the first couple of minutes in the final. And then, like, they never at any point did Spurs look like they were going to win the Champions League. They were more happy to be there than a threat to actually win the competition. And what has he won? Unfortunately, we talk about this. You know, what has he won? Unfortunately, he hasn't won nothing. And not just has he not won nothing, Leicester won the league when Spurs were meant to finish second. How did that happen? Not just how did that happen, they finished third. They finished third below Arsenal the year Leicester won the league table. Tell you what, mate, the pressure is going to be a lot different at Old Trafford. he is going to be under some bubble. I just think the board at Old Trafford just have a long, hard think about what they're going to do. I don't think they will. I think they don't really care. For them, it's United are just a business. As long as we make top 4, as long as commercial deals are coming through the door, keeps them happy. Which is sad to see. But I think we will see Pochettino at some point before the end of the season. That's my prediction. Not that I actually want that to happen, but that is my prediction. Come the end of the season, Mauricio Pochettino will be the manager at Old Trafford. That's just my prediction. But next, lads, let's get in to Liverpool versus City. Big game this weekend. Two teams that are, I wouldn't say in form. Manchester City aren't really in form. But Liverpool are back on top of the league table for the first time this season. They look to be a team in form. Look good in the Champions League the other day, Liverpool. It's going to be a good one. This could, look, it's not a title decider, okay? But it could shape things up. If Liverpool smash City, they go to the Etihad and put City away. It could be a repeat of last year. The season could be done and dusted very early again. But if if Pep and his boys get together, put in a good performance, and if they do Liverpool, game on. They've just opened their title chances wide open. Big game. I'm looking forward to it. Diego Jota. What a signing. What a man. His first Liverpool hat-trick scored midweek. 10 days, 4 games, 6 goals for Diego. Not bad at all. What a shrewd signing. And it's got to be said, Roberto Firmino, what's going on there? Just seems to be a man, a shadow of his old self. He was the link-up genius to Liverpool. From the midfield to Mo Salah to Mane. He was the man. But it's got to be said, in a title-winning season, he didn't even get double digits in goals. Which, it's not a bad thing. He's the link-up man, I get that. But he just does not look to be in form at the minute. It's got to be said, I think he has to get dropped. I think it's got to be Mo Salah, Mane, and Jota up front. That's what I would like to see anyways. Will it happen? Or will Klopp stick with Firmino? Give the man a chance. Look, it's a long season. Like I was saying before, yeah. With the pandemic, even Liverpool players too, yeah. They're in the Champions League. They're in Europe. It's going to be a long season. Players are going to get injured. It's not just a matter of just a starting 11. But we all do know Klopp likes to stick with his starting 11 and not rotate much. But unfortunately, this is a season where we are going to see a lot of rotation. City too, they've got injuries left, right, and centre. But how's this, yeah? Liverpool at Anfield, 63 games unbeaten. That's amazing. But also, at the same time, Liverpool have conceded the most goals in the Premier League out of anyone. And they're on top of the league. How does that even work? What a crazy season. If that is not a stat that just proves this is going to be the craziest season of all time, then I don't know what else does. And I think we are in for a big, crazy season. So buckle up. Frankie Lampard, Chelsea and the boys starting to click. Tell you what, we said a week is a long time in football. 2 weeks ago, United were playing Chelsea. And everyone was debating Solskjaer and Frank Lampard are in such similar positions. Whoever wins that game, which ended up being a 0-0 draw, was going to dictate which manager was going to be better off and whatnot. But I tell you what, ever since the signing of Mendy for Chelsea, they just started to look like a brand new team. I've got some crazy stats for you. Since Mendy's come into the team, Chelsea now have 6 clean sheets in the last 7 games. And on the weekend, it was the first time all their summer signings started together against Burnley. Smoked them 3-0. Tottenham the week before struggled to get a win there. They did in the end a 1-0 win, but it was easy for Chelsea. It was impressive. Goal and assist for Ziyech. Looked impressive. Chelsea, Lampard, straight back into the top 4. Even in the Champions League, again, another clean sheet. How impressive is that? And how's this for a stat for you? Chelsea are yet to concede a goal when all 3 of their new defensive signings, Silva, Chilwell and Mendy, have started the game together. That is phenomenal. That is what happens when you get backed in a transfer market. Big difference between Chelsea and United. Look, Chelsea had their ban last year. They couldn't make transfers. But has got to be said, Chelsea have more than backed Frank Lampard. And I'll tell you what, come the end of the season, it could be scary. They look a real good outfit. They look to be mint as well. So, fair play to Frank Lampard. But another manager impressing. It's got to be said, Brendan Rodgers. Look, they had every team is going to have a dip, and there's going to be many more dips coming to every team's way come the end of the season. But Brendan Rodgers is second on the league table. That was an impressive smashing to Bielsa and Leeds. Very impressive. And what makes this very more appealing to me than any of the others is that the injury list that Leicester have is ridiculous. And to be sitting at this stage of the season, look, I know we're only 7 games in, so it's very early, but still, with their injuries to the personnel who they've had, and to be sitting second in the league, very, very impressive. But we all know Brendan Rodgers likes to tail off come the end of the season. But let me just read you some players who have been injured and not played this season. Johnny Evans missed a couple games. Jamie Vardy, he missed a game. He started on the bench a couple times. James Maddison missed the beginning. He's back now and he's looking sharp. Signed the new deal last season. Looking good, James Maddison. Fair play to him. Suunchu, he is just a proper centre-half. He's been injured this season. Ricardo, the right back. These are some big players. Prayet, Ndidi, Amatri. Second in the league table. Fair play to our Brendan Rodgers. I'm impressed. Now it does got to be said, I've got to name some honourable mentions here. Because I can't talk about everything and everyone and go into greater detail. But it's got to be said, Fulham. An honourable mention. Nobody's seen you getting the win against West Brom. That was a proper 6-pointer. And with that victory, they're out of the relegation zone. Fair play to ya. Fair play to Fulham. Look, I don't think they're going to have many things to celebrate this season, but that was definitely one of them. Newcastle United doing Carlo Ancelotti and Everton. I know Everton got a lot of injuries at the minute, but no one's seen Steve Bruce nick 3 points from Carlo Ancelotti. 2 weeks ago, everyone was talking about Everton as being outsiders to winning the Premier League. Do you remember these conversations? Steve Bruce, what a man. Wolves, after a rocky start, now 4 games unbeaten. After that 2-0 win to Palace. Shout out to Wolves. Now, Wolves do have a tricky month ahead of them. Their next 4 to 6 weeks don't look good at all. So depending how they get through that, it's going to be interesting to see where they end up. Because if they can, tell you what, get a few wins on the board in the next few weeks, that will set them up. That will give them confidence. But it could go the other way. Now, to my favorite segment of the week, flying under the radar, a player you should be keeping an eye out for. Now, this particular player, he is flying under the radar a little bit. He's not mainstream, but a lot of you guys do know him. But I wanted to make a video about this guy a few weeks ago, but I didn't have the chance, and now I'm going to bring him to the forefront. Can you guess who it was? Or guess who it is, I should say. Who is flying under the radar? Have a guess. He goes by the name of Tariq Lamptey. What a man. What a player. Now, the 20-year-old made his debut for Brighton after Project Restart at the back end of last season, making his move permanent from Chelsea to Brighton. And that was an impressive. That's when he caught my eye at the back end of last season after Project Restart. He looked sharp. He looked good. He looked lively. He really, really impressed me then. The opening game of this season, Lamptey played against his former club, Chelsea, where he pressed everyone that day. Also got his first assist for the club, setting up a goal for Trossard. Lamptey has started all 7 games for Brighton this season, and on the weekend, Lamptey scored his first professional goal for Brighton with his opposite foot against Tottenham in the 2-1 defeat. Unfortunately, he did go off injured, and we wish him a speedy recovery on the Footy Show. The kid has impressed me immensely, and I won't be surprised if a big club comes in for him. Tariq Lamptey, what a man, what a player. Plays that right wing back. That goal he scored on the weekend against Tottenham was superb. He took it and had the one touch. Now, he could have easily get back onto his left because he's a lefty, but decided not and stuck his laces straight through it. Good goal. He is a good player. Now, there's talks Bayern Munich are in for him. And I tell you what, if Brighton don't stay up in the Premier League, he could go to a big club. But forget all that. We are now going on to the player of the week in the Premier League. And this week, it's got to go to my man, Callum Wilson. What a man. What a week. What a start to his Newcastle United career. What a brace against Everton that was. What an impressive start for the 28-year-old is having for his Newcastle United career. After getting relegated last season with Bournemouth in the 2019-20 season was a massive disappointment for Callum. After getting his move to Tyneside in the summer, Wilson has already shown his quality with an excellent brace on the weekend, making it a top 4, 6 goals in 7 appearances for Newcastle already in the Premier League. That's only 1 goal away from what he was in his total tally for Bournemouth last season. The lad is doing bits. Good on him. I'm glad to see Callum playing with a smile on his face again. He's a quality outfit. Now, last season was a disappointing season for Bournemouth and for Callum. The goals dried up massively. But the season before that one, he was on fire. I think he got over 20 goals for Bournemouth. Everyone was talking about a big move for him. It just never came through and never came upon anything else. But to see him doing well now for Newcastle, the goals are flowing, mate. He's on penalties and all. He's finishing them. Good finishes as well. Steve Bruce, what a buy. I'm happy for him. But lads, we've got a new segment on the Footy Show, and we're calling it Tool of the Week, aka Wanker of the Week, aka a Nuffy, aka What Are You Doing, Son? And this week, Tool of the Week goes to none other than Graham Scott. Now, I'm not one to bash referees, okay? I'm not one to bash referees at all. But it must be said, this right here is a straight contender for Tool of the Week. Let me tell you about a situation on the weekend. Now, Graham Scott was the referee between Brighton and Tottenham across the weekend. Now, I've got to tell you this, okay? Now, an open play, all right, Graham Scott was 2 meters away from a tackle being made, okay? Now, as he's seen the tackle being made, it was Solly March's tackle on Højbjerg, okay? Clear foul, okay? Now, Graham Scott was literally 2 meters away, okay? Didn't blow the whistle, didn't blow for the foul. Brighton won it and scored, okay? We'll talk about before. Lamptey, when he got his first goal, came from this play right here, okay? Graham Scott, this was 2 meters away from you, okay? Now, the reason why you are the Tool of the Week, VAR went and had a look, and in Graham's ear, they said, come have a look at this. So, Graham's gone over to the VAR machine, as you can see on the screen right now, and he's having a look at the screen. And inside the screen, you can see Graham is in both shots himself. He is looking at himself. Look, he is 2 meters away in both different angles looking at himself. And after looking at himself, looking in the screen, he still did not play the foul. You, my friend, are Tool of the Week. Unfortunately, my friend, I got no, mate.
I'm sorry, son, but you are daft.
Sorry, Graham. You are this week's Tool of the Week. But lads, let's get to the fixtures this weekend. Another big weekend in football this week. We've got internationals after this week. I hate internationals. I'm not a fan at all. Especially now in the pandemic. Talk to me, lads. Why are we playing internationals now? It makes no sense to me. We're trying to protect the players, their health and safety from COVID and that. Yeah, but we're going to send them all around the world, play football, run around, you know, come back to the country, take more tests. I just think it's all a bit too much if you ask me. I think these players, we're just asking way too much of them. I'm just not a fan of international football, especially right now. Just give me a World Cup every 4 years and I'll be happy with that. Rant over. Fixtures this week. And I've picked out 3 fixtures for myself that I'm looking forward to most. And it's got to be, number 1. I should say, let's start 3, 2, 1. All right, number 3, Everton United. I'll tell you what, mate, this is not looking good. This could be the end of Ollie if Carlo Ancelotti has his way at Goodison Park. United, we just haven't had a good record there in recent years. We just haven't. It's been a hot minute since we've had a win there. I haven't looked at the results in the last, it's not many wins. I'm probably on a handful in the last decade, I could tell you that. Second fixture I'm looking forward to most this weekend. Leicester against Wolves. Both teams in form. 5th against 2nd. It's going to be a good one. Remember I said it's going to be a tough month for Wolves. They've got a lot of big fixtures like this coming up. Can't wait to see that. And my number 1, you've guessed it, no brainer. Manchester City, Liverpool at the Etihad. Going to be massive. Now, it's not a title decider, like I said before. but it could shape up the season. I'm gonna tell you what, if Liverpool go to the Etihad and they do Pep with ease, it's gonna be hard not seeing them run away with it like they did last year. It will be very, very, very hard not to see that happening. But like I said, if Pep does a number and he gets an impressive win over Klopp, you're back in the title race, son. Things are opening up. Gonna be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to it. Big weekend as well. Burnley need their first win. Southampton looking good against informed Newcastle. Looking good. Crystal Palace Leeds both looking to bounce back. Chelsea looking impressive at home to Sheffield. Not looking too good for Chris Wilder's men. West Ham, Fulham. Going to be a good game. You'd think Spurs will do a number over West Brom. You would think that. And Arsenal, can they kick on from their impressive win at Old Trafford against Aston Villa? Aston Villa starting to slide now. The big games are coming through thick and fast. Arsenal, look, I think Arsenal are going to do Aston Villa. But I'm keen to see how Arsenal kick on. I'm keen to see how they get on. But yeah, lads, we are coming towards the end of the show. But before I go, let's get into some Q&A questions, shall we? Get your comments down below, or get your questions in the comments in the chat, and I'll give you my answers and opinions on that matter. What are your predictions for the Everton game? That's from Lone Wolf. Look, predictions. This is the thing, Ollie. When you least expect it, he delivers on the big stage. When you think we're not gonna beat Paris Saint-Germain away, you know? When you think we're going to lose to City, when you think we're going to lose to Chelsea, he pulls out these big results. But just the form we've been in lately, the match against Arsenal, so disappointing. Just the way we played. Oh, man, it's so hard to predict. It's so hard. Which United is going to turn up? Look, prediction. I'm not going to predict a United loss. It's just not in me. It's just not in my blood. But if I had to make a prediction, I'm going to go for a 3-2 United win. Heavily biased there. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you the truth there. All right, Leon Jones asks, how much more patience do you have with Ollie? Like I said before, how much can you blame on Ollie compared to not being backed and what he's delivered, what he's had to deal with, what he's come through? When you look at the big picture, I will have to say, me personally, I would back Ollie to the end of the season. I would give him a full season. And this is a crazy season as well. We're in the midst. I don't keep saying it, but it's true. You have to take everything into consideration. If we don't give managers time, how will we ever progress? We'll forever be the club that sacks the manager, gets a new manager in, has a high off the bounce, dips in form, sacked, they're out. Next manager. It's a vicious cycle. We need to back the manager. But more importantly, we do need to back the right manager. That's got to be said as well. Curtis, what do you think it will be coming in January? I think what is that? Probably who do you think is going to be coming in January? I don't know, to be honest. Mate, if we didn't get the signings in the summer, there's no evidence for me to think that there's going to be more players coming our way in January. I'd love to sit here and say, hey, look, we're going to get a new centre-back to shore up the defence. Hey, we're going to get Jadon Sancho, a right winger. I just don't see it. I just don't. How we made Champions League. If there was ever a time to say, look, Ollie, you've done a great job. Here's some money to spend. I just don't see anyone coming in January. Maybe a signing with that. That's not a big signing. But yeah, no Jadon Sancho's, no one like that. No Koulibaly's, nothing like that. If any manager can come in, they'll be successful. What manager? Who would I want to come in next? Well, that's a hard question. Who is there? Who is available? Look, a lot of people are saying Allegri. I'm not a fan of Allegri. Look, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not a big fan. Look, I haven't looked too in depth into who would I like to be the United manager, but it's got to be said. It's a tricky one. Honestly, I'm not even looking at other managers because I want Ollie. I just want Ollie to be back to the end of the season. That's what I would like. But yeah, that has been another episode on the Footy Show. Stay tuned for next week. Lads, we have got a big weekend ahead of us, so no doubt there's going to be some massive stories on the other side of the weekend. And then we've got internationals, so unfortunately there'll be no Footy Show the week after. But not to worry, we have next week's episode to look forward to. And if you're enjoying the episode, do us a massive favour. Hit the like button. It helps me out immensely. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. But more importantly, if you have enjoyed the show and you really like it, can you do me a massive favour and just share it to one of your mates? Just share it to your dad. Just share it to your brother. Or just share it to your best mate. Just one person. It would help me immensely. Or even just share it in your feed. Whatever social media platform you're on. It will help me immensely. Lads, I hope you enjoyed this. This has been another good episode. I love doing this. You guys are... I'm very grateful for your support I've been getting over the recent weeks. Honestly. I really am. Very, very grateful for your support. But yeah, lads. Until next time. My name is Curtis. I am blessed. Football obsessed. And I wish you nothing but the best. Take care.